rule, right? No, you know what we
Late.
say in the military? If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, they throw a bad word in there with that. So we don't want that. We're going to have a great day for you today. Look, you're going to be so excited that you joined us today live because you're going to get a chance to ask some questions that maybe you've wanted to ask before, but you're like, the people in my area where I live aren't going to help me and coach me and tell me what's working. They're not going to open up behind the scenes and tell me what's good and what's bad. They're going to want me to figure it out for myself. Well, that's not what's going to happen for you today. You are going to see exactly what's going on how to build a team. We're going to talk about that. Before we do that, let's take a look real quick at some of the resources that we have for you. So check this out. We have an Instagram page. We have an Instagram page. We'd love for you to follow us there. We've got 184 followers with 522 posts. You need to be on this page and check out some things that are going on. We also, when you have success, if you let us know about the success you're having, we'll build a graphic for you, and then you can share that on your social media, a little third-party documentation, just a little hint there. We also record these. You probably know this, like Mondays at noon sometimes may not work for real estate agents, so we record them. But I would encourage you to come live. Live is when you get the best interaction. It's when you can ask the questions that are on your mind. And this is the bonus part. If you come live and you ask a question and you engage with the person who's speaking, we're going to chop up these recordings into things called shorts. These shorts, then you can take and share them on your social media. So if you have a great tip or trick or an idea that's worked for you, and you're on here, we'll chop it up into a little short and you can use it on your social media. Now you're out there talking on a mastermind with agents all across the country. Look, we're a huge group of agents. We're called Grow Global because we're looking to help you grow your business, grow your network so you can grow your life, so you can sell more real estate in less time and have more fun. We also have a Facebook page. You want to join there, have somebody invite you to it, Grow Global Mastermind Academy. Again, we put different announcements and things like there on that. For example, today's mastermind's coming in. I've got an actual bigger shot of that, so you guys don't have to squint at it if you're looking on your phone. Monday Mastermind. Today we've got Alex. We're going to be talking to Alex, and what we're going to be talking about is the team advantage, how to build a traditional team. You're going to discover the key benefits of joining a team or building a real estate team versus working solo. And there are some advantages, and Alex has done an incredible job at it. We're going to be talking a little bit about the things that he's accomplished here in a second. But building a winning team, how to learn the proven strategies to recruit, train, and retain top performing agents. We're also going to teach you how to scale your business, teach you how to understand how to leverage a team to grow your business faster so you can increase your revenue and so you can create freedom. And so, with that, I want to introduce Alex. I think we made you a co host. Good, Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can. So Alex
Yeah.
is out of the great state of Indiana. I know he's doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. I'll let him give his exact stats, so I'm not padding it or using puffery, as they say in real estate, right? Isn't that the real estate quote, the puffery on it? But let Alex tell you a little bit about it. We're all agents here, so he's not bragging on himself. He's actually a very humble guy, so he doesn't like talking about it. So I'm going to force him to do it right here. Alex, take it away, man. Tell us a little bit, first of all, the exact market you service, how long you've been in business, and what you've grown your real estate team to do.
Yeah. So thanks so much for all that, Jim. That was awesome. So I got in the business in 2012. I was a solo agent from 2012 to 2019, 2020, and I'm based out of Indianapolis. So I keep my focus centrally located in the great Hoosier state of Indiana. And in 2020 and 2021, that is like kind of that general time when we really started building a team, and we got much more serious and direct and organized about our plan more into 2021. And then Lockstep Realty, that's the team that we run today, and we run it very much so like a traditional brokerage that you would see. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how we got there, and we'll talk about why we did that. But that happened in 2022. So for data's sake, we did, I think the metrics last year, like 305 transactions for 112 or $113 million worth of business. Currently, I need to look, but I think the maths right now we're at like 30, it's like $43 million closed and pended in business. It's hard to keep track. We currently the metric that we're tracking right now that's exciting for our team is we have 69 houses pended right now. So that's all scheduled to close between now and pretty much like the end of May, which is the most we've ever done. So it's been nice. I mean, the market we've seen transition from probably a little bit slower in the beginning part of the year relative to what we saw last year in 2025, but it has really ramped up in our marketplace in Indianapolis. So, yeah, that's what we're doing right now and where we are.
So I want to mention to everybody, if you have questions for Alex, he loves interaction. If you're shy and you want to put it in the chat, you can do that. But if you do, as we said before, if you actually come on camera, put your face on and actually ask the question and interact, that will create some shorts for you that you can use on your social medias. And it'll be something great that you can use. Like we're always looking for content as agents, right? So this is a great place for you to get some content and put it out there. So the easy way to do that is you can just kind of raise your hand, the little thing will call on you, or if you're chicken, put in the chat, and we'll read the questions to Alex. And I'm going to start off with the first one, Alex, before we get you going here. You said you were an independent agent before, up to before COVID, and then you decided to jump into the pool of team building. What was the aha or the defining moment or the thing when you said, you know what, I'm going to leave the independent and I'm going to go build a traditional team?
Yeah, so I think I should share with you guys. I actually never really wanted to build a team. I ran a really good solo business by myself. Um, I worked my own systems, I worked my own stuff. So like I was my own perfect mess. I had a transaction coordinator that worked the back end of my business for me, and she did a really nice job. But I was only responsible for me. And what was really nice about that is like I got to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted to do it. And then I had started dating somebody and I got really serious with them. And I looked up one day and I, I was really strapped for time. So I would have multiple buyers looking in the same neighborhoods at the same properties 2 hours apart. And so I'm driving all over the place. I'm running ragged and I'm doing a lot of business. And at the time, if it was like 2019, 2020, I was doing somewhere in the ballpark of like 60 to 80 transactions a year. And the money was great, but everywhere in my life started to really suffer. And so I was really strapped for time. And so the one thing I wrote down here that I think is really important when you're wondering about like why you would start a team or what helps you get over the hump is like it's the question of like why would I do this? And so I think there's two critical things that you need to look at when you're considering this. One is being like, do you have a surplus of opportunity to be able to share with somebody? So look, I'll just say this, like I don't think it makes a ton of sense for you to start or build a team if you don't even have enough business to keep yourself busy. So there would be the first thing is like surplus and opportunity. I have too many leads that fall through the cracks or my database is too big that I can't satisfy or manage it. So there's the first thing. And the second thing I would say is like if you're looking for an increase in your time leverage. So if the work that you're doing, when you start seeing yourself working like within the boundaries and like breaking through boundaries that you've set for yourself in your life that are important to you. So they may be things like, hey, I want to spend time with my kids, or I want to spend time with my spouse, or there's like social things that you like to do, and you start compromising on those things for work. Those are the things that are red flags that you need to pay attention to start thinking about like, hey, we need to start bringing in support, or I need to have help here to help me continue to scale and grow. So for me, it was like, especially in the COVID market, I had out of town clients. I had online leads. I had more than I knew what to do with. And so we kind of started and formed and really like got our legs by just like people came in and it was like people would approach me and say, "Hey, can I join your team? Do you have leads?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man. This is awesome. I can't believe all these people want to join me." And what I would tell you is if I could go back and do it over again, I would have built much stronger and much cleaner foundational pieces and much better organization about how I wanted to run my team and much more clarity around it than just saying, "Hey, if you have a pulse and you want to come hang out and you're a pretty decent person, you can come work for me." And we've spent a lot of the last couple of years like building it up and tearing it down and building it up and tearing it down, and it's a pretty common thing. Um, but I would tell you like when you start, like think about yourself when you're starting in real estate. What do they tell you? It's like learn the contracts, organize your database, and contact your sphere. Well, those same basics are what you need to be doing when you start your team. And so it's like, how are you vetting agents to get in your team? And what are your core principles? And what kind of accountability are you going to have? And you can't say you're not going to do any of it, because what will happen is you'll build something that's so big that you have to go back and unwind and fix all of those bad habits that you have.
So, Alex, I love the litmus test you have. Every team I think I've seen fail is exactly what you said. They don't have enough leads to keep themselves busy as a solo agent. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to build a team. And then they wonder why their team doesn't work when they don't have the overflow leads. So I love that. I have a question for you. So for agents who are on here who are still solo, who are going to be watching this recording, what is the biggest misconception they have about A, either joining a team or B, building a team? What do you think those are?
Yeah, so I think, look, the misconception about joining a team is like, I'm a producer, I don't need a team. And the reality is, and I have this conversation a lot with people that do 10 million bucks, 15 million bucks, 20 million bucks. It's like, at some point there is something that you're giving at the expense of what you're accomplishing. And the right team will provide some sort of gap or some sort of fill to what those limitations are. So I would say, like, these folks that look and they're like, I don't need a team. Well, look, there's a lot that our team does for agents. We have an agent last year. He did $19 million in his first full year. He did $15 million. And that was his first full calendar year. And he did it because we taught him the process, we taught him the systems, we gave him the infrastructure to go just work. And so we all get in the business to do a couple of things. And it's like, spend time with our clients, write contracts, and cash checks. I mean, that is the like brass tacks reality of this. You can say that you like houses and you can say that you like showing it, but all those things tie back to like building relationships and supporting other people and then earning a really high level of living. The reason you, like, when you're just looking going, I don't need a team or I don't need to build a team, you find yourself doing everything but that. And so it's like the paperwork, it's answering the questions, it's letting contractors into houses, it's going to inspections, it's writing the inspections, it's writing your listing descriptions, taking measurements. Like, think of all these things and then put dollar amounts next to them. If you're not doing the stuff that pays you 150, 250, 500 bucks an hour, you should be hiring that stuff out. And so that's the concept in the brain capacity that you need to be thinking about as you're getting ready to build and start building your team. And so to answer your question even further, Jim, it's like, how should I build a team, or why should I build a team? Like, do you find yourself doing a lot of things that you don't enjoy doing? And so I ask this question to folks when they have a ton of success on our team, and it's like, are you happy now? And it's like, are you happy doing these particular activities every single day? Or are you just forcing the discipline upon yourself to do it? And that's okay too. But you should be enjoying what you're doing. So, like, for me, when I started scaling, I couldn't get my lead based paint disclosure signed. And so, like, Remax wouldn't pay me. Hey guys, I turned all my files in. Can you, Alex, you didn't get the lead paint signed. I'm like, look, I sell 50, 60 houses a year. Leave me alone. Let me have my check. And they're like, it doesn't work that way. So then I hired an admin. And then once it was like I would leave town or I would do something, I would go back to that admin and say, hey, can you go show these houses? Can you show these houses? And when I started to realize that it was like, hey, this is out of the realm of what that job description is that she was hired and what she's paid to do, you need to bring in a buyer agent or you need to bring in another agent on your team to start having them help and support you. So it's like you just keep your antenna up to identify these things that you find yourself doing that are not the highest and best use of your time. And then that's where you start bringing in support and other people to do it.
What's a good personality type for somebody that you would want to have as a team member?
So that's a good question. So I actually spent a lot of time last year with somebody who was at EXP at the time who was building a pretty substantial size team, and I was asking like I asked the question to him like, how do you identify who you're talking to or what that perfect person is? And he flipped that question back to me and was like, can you talk to me about somebody that is on your team that is like the team member that is the most reflective of your core values and your mission? And I sat and I was like, yep, I got that person. And he's like, what characteristics do they have? And I was like, they're coachable, they're a team player, they're driven by growth and success. They want to be part of something bigger. They believe in something bigger than themselves. And so I just started listing these things out. And he was like, boom, there's your avatar of who you need to go find. So when you start talking to people, you can zero in to what you want based on the avatar that you have. So if you notice, nothing of which I said was, hey, this agent needs to sell 5 million bucks. Or I also didn't say we don't take brand new or we don't take somebody that does this. We that all plays a role, but we're looking for the quality of person that wants to do the work. And so, for us it's like where we've noticed that we've had challenges with agents on our team because look, I'll tell you this, we have 22 agents at Lockstep. I have 10 staff members. That's 32 people. I can assure you that come January 1st, 2027, not everybody's going to be here. Like it's just, that's just life. Like life happens. People leave the industry, jobs change, something happens, somebody moves, like things just come up. Or the other side is like, whether it's like culturally or their work level or work commitment, it just doesn't fit our standard anymore. And those things are okay. But for us, when we can look at our avatar and say, here's what we're looking for, if we bring somebody into Lockstep that fits that mold, they will be a complement to the room, not a problem or a negative.
What are the
So,
so somebody's thinking about building a team, Alex. Let's see, they want to do that, right? They've been on a team before, they went solo, now they're thinking, "Well, I'm thinking about building a team." What are the first three hires or roles an agent should think about when moving from solo agent to team leader?
yeah, so I think, you know, when I started, the way that I did it, it was transaction coordinator was the first person that I brought in because I told you guys I was a paperwork mess. I had stuff everywhere. And so it's like transaction coordinator slash assistant. And she did a lot of like the basic stuff. So like scheduling showings and uploading my like all my listing documents, like things like that, like the basic bare bones. And then she did some marketing work for me at like its baseline, just things that just helped me be in two places at once. But then when I started noticing that, like that sector was totally fine, but I started bringing agents on my team. And look, like there's models all out there all over the place about like bringing a buyer's agent and make them focus on working with buyers so they can learn the buyer's market to then go learn eventually to be a listing agent, things like that. And it's like, look, you should just train people to be great realtors. And so what I did is like I had people coming to me that were saying, "Hey, I got my license. I want to learn the business. Can I learn from you?" And so I just started bringing in agents. What I learned about 6 months in, and I'll tell the story because it's really relevant and you'll all experience it if you do it the wrong way. I had brought, I had 5 people on my team, okay? And I had a charity day. I was like serving groceries and it was from 7 a.m. or 7:30 in the morning till 12. And every single hour, one person, one of the 5, called me with a problem. And I remember sitting there thinking, I thought building my team would help alleviate the problems that I've had of not having enough time or too much, having to be in too many places at once. And all I've done is create a bigger monster. And so what I did at that point is I made a really strategic hire. I took a guy that I was passing leads to, and I offered him a salary position to come in and basically be me while I'm also me, but so we can be in two different places at one time. And that guy, what we've done with him over the years, his name's Daniel. You've seen him on here before, but Daniel is no longer in production. We pulled Daniel out of production, and he manages and leads all the agents at Lockstep through any transactional issues, through like he leads our trainings, he leads development, things like that. So you have to look at like what seat you're trying to sit in and where you're trying to go. So for me, I've totally removed myself from production. But in 2020, when I started bringing people on my team, I was still boots on the ground, and so was Daniel. So, like, I would be boots on the ground giving a lead to, say, Rob, and then Rob would call and need help. well, who trains Rob? And so it's like, well, I'm supposed to train Rob. Well, now I got to help Rob. I got to help his client. I got to help my client. And so you see what happens is all you start doing is creating more and more deals and more issues if you're not correctly organized with, strategic help. So over time, what we did is we scaled Daniel out of production and then we've scaled me out of production. So our agents now have direct access to us to help them support and grow their business as they need. And we're not competing for any opportunity in the field. And actually, we're taking our opportunities and we're sharing them with them. So if I get a lead right now, like we got a $2.2 million buyer lead over the weekend, and we shared that with one of our top producers. And so that becomes a retention tool and a value add to why somebody works on the team.
I love that. So we're meeting right now with Alex Montagano, or if you're from northern Indiana, it's Montagano, if you're up there near to Chicago. But so he's built a massive team. He's talking about to solo agents, maybe should you consider joining a team or should you consider building your own team? And so a good question, I think, for people that are maybe in that position right now, Alex, would be what foundations need to be in place before someone starts adding agents to a team? Because you see people get all excited. I'm going to build a team, man. They bring on a buyer's agent and all this stuff, and they go flat. The buyer's agent fails. They hire a listing agent and things like that. But what are the foundations you have to have in place before you can build a solid
Yeah,
team?
so we and I'll back up. So like when we launched Lockstep, there was like 8 of us bootstrapping it, everybody hustling and everybody trying to figure it out. And that was really fun. Um, but I couldn't, I personally could not do that today with my life with like 2 kids at home and my commitment to my wife and all the things. Like I couldn't even fathom doing it. And look, it was a cheat code for a long time because I was able to work freely and do whatever the hell I wanted. And that's how I built what I built, but all the problems and the negatives that came with it. So Jim, like what we did a handful of years ago, um, is we like restructured our core values. We got clearer on our mission. We defined our avatar and we got really clear about like what kind of team we're going to be. And so when I say that, there's like a lot of different teams out there. There's like Zillow Premier teams, or Zillow Premier teams that like buy leads. There's Zillow Preferred teams that used to be Flex that just gives like truckloads of leads to agents. There are teams that have agents that are just like lead hounds. So it's like you come here, I'll give you this, and you just go run down leads. And then there's teams that like support. Like, what does support look like? What are you teaching your agents, and how are you training them? And then what kind of culture ultimately do you want? So like, I think this is a really good example. A handful of years, I brought our team to Chicago for a long weekend, and spouses came, and I had an agent that was working a deal on the trip, and the agent was like, I run a team and I don't even know all the people's names on my team and they don't have access to me. And so it's like, what the hell is the point of your team and what does your team even do? And the agent was like, no, we just, we have a deal with the brokerage and they get better splits if they come work for me. And they're kind of on their own and they can use my brand a little bit. And that's really common. It's really common where you see teams that have a last name that has like a legacy value and they slap it on a real estate sign and people think there's like intrinsic value in that. But look, those are the different things that you need to determine about what kind of team you want to be. And so something that we've learned over the years, and look, like I'll share my heartburns and my financial mistakes along the journey. It's like every time I used to see a product that I would want as an agent when I was doing 60, 70, 80 deals a year, I would go buy it. And I'd have to buy it at the enterprise level because it would work for our team. And then I'd put it in front of the team and be like, this is a kick-ass system and it works really well and it's going to help you make all this money. And our team would just like stare at me like, I don't care. I don't care. And so what we've learned in the last like handful of months is that our agents want a killer support system. They want to be heard and valued. They want a culture of people that care about what they're doing and like strive for success. They want an office. We have a killer office that our agents get to work out of. They want some leads and they want support. And so it's not like nobody walks in my office and says, we need more tech. We need more AI. Should they? Yes. Do we do the best we can with what we teach? Yeah, for sure. But people they want to be heard and they want to be appreciated and want to be a part of something. So, but to answer your question, it's really like, what kind of team do you want to be? And what we found is like the clearer we are about who we are and what we do, then the more attractive we become to the marketplace for people coming to us on the recruiting side. Like our system and our Instagram recruits for us, and then ultimately agents call us and say, "It looks really cool about what you're doing. Can we join your team?"
It's better than chasing agents, it sounds like, having them
The
come to you
the chasing
and
agent
ask.
thing, look, I'll tell you this, as you're new and you're building a team early on, it's like seeking buyers and sellers. It is really, really hard work. What you'll do, and look, I did this. You compromise your standards, you bend on everything, you hear what you want to hear, and you see a warm body across from you that you can slap a revenue value on to go, this agent does 4 million bucks, that's 120 grand a year on your split, I'd make 40 grand, that 40 grand does this, and you do that. Instead of being clear about what your operation is, when somebody comes to you and says, "Hey Alex, I want to be a part of everything that you do because I want accountability and I want standards, I want to be pushed and challenged, and I want to be a part of something." And it makes it a lot easier. I don't really have conversations about commission. And if we ever have them, they're like 2 seconds long. And honestly, it often becomes a red flag around like the longevity of that agent with our team.
So Tracy Boss Moves Wiggins is going right in for the juggler here with her questions. She says, "What's your split and does it vary per experience?"
Yeah, so it does not because well, look, experience is driven by the number of transactions you do, not your tenure in the business. So what we do is when agents walk into lockstep, our splits range from like 60-40, 60 to an agent, 40 to lockstep on a brand new, and then that works up all the way to a 90-10, but it's driven based on individual years performance. So a traditional agent at lockstep is somewhere in the ballpark of 70-30. Their splits on leads are different. So like internet leads are 50-50. Um, and then if I give you a personal lead of mine, um, I take between 65 and 70% to the house, and 30 to 35% goes to that agent, and they retain that client for life. So what I'll tell you on the split side of things, um, charge more, charge more early. It's very hard, and they're hard conversations, but you need to come from the side of abundance with this. It is very hard as you scale and grow a team because of how expensive everything is to be as profitable as you'd like to be by charging insanely generous splits. You need to charge more because if you're going to offer all the value in the systems and the tech and things like that.
That makes
Thank you,
sense. Rob
Alex.
Campbell, go ahead.
No, I was just thanking him. Thank you so much. I think I'm on point from what I heard from you. So, but as a new team leader, it was a little bit different. I lost some when I told them I had to charge them a little bit more because I found myself like you. They had transactions, maybe they were doing 2 or 3 million, but when I gave them a lead, they still needed my help. I'm like, well, you've done enough contracts. If you're going to need my help, I'm going to have to charge you more. So I went up a little bit, but everything you're saying, I feel so much better. I'm right on point. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, definitely. And look, here's the thing. Like this is the what will happen is you'll bring a bunch of people on your team, you'll have your splits and your systems, you'll say we're here to support you, and agents will use and abuse that because that's what you tell them they can do. And so to then go back and go, well, I need to charge you more. It's like, well, wait, you told me, and it's like, well, I thought you knew how to do the job. And so like what is really important in doing this is like clarity in your infrastructure and the expectations for agents up front. And what we
Yeah.
notice is like we'll get agents that'll come in the room and some will like boom, they'll just take off and they'll kick ass, they'll be awesome. And then others it's like you've been here for 3 years and you're still asking the same questions, doing the same business. Like are you somebody that is culturally aligned with what we're trying to do here? And those are the questions
Correct.
that you have to ask yourself about, the longevity of like agents on your team and what you're really trying to build. And the
Correct.
reality is like if you think of this like the client, the buyer or seller that grinds you up on commission or beats you up and says, I'm easy, I know what I'm doing, I don't need a full fee realtor, blah, 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 blah. Like you go, oh man, this guy's easy. It's a layup. He's buying this. It doesn't really matter. I can discount his fee. But the reality is those are always the hardest clients to work with. And so
Uh-huh.
when you have agents that don't see the value in
Uh-huh.
what you're doing, you need to
Mhm.
be comfortable with them letting them go on their own and stay away
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something that you need to be comfortable with, and it goes back to the abundance thing.
Yeah. 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 That's perfect. I lost you for a minute there, but I think I heard what, I didn't change that split until the new year. When it was the new year came, I said, okay, guys, these are the changes that we're going to make. And so they understood, because if I got to handhold you, like you said, and you've been doing enough contracts, you should be able to do a purchase and sale agreement. If you can't, then yeah, the split is going to be 70-30. So, okay, thanks. You really helped
Since
out.
since we're on the
Awesome.
commission split thing, Alex, do you give agents a bonus if they bring their own leads? What if they like have family members and things like that, and they have their own self-gen stuff? Do you give a
So
break on the
so
split?
all self-gen stuff is within the split models that are explained to them. So like traditional agents, 70-30 on a self-gen, um, 70-30 on buyers and 70-30 on listings is pretty traditional for us. The one thing I would tell you, um, if I were doing it again, I would have a 5% less on a listing to the agent. And the reason I would do that is if I pay for photography, I pay for signage, I pay for Zillow Showcase or whatever the hell it is now that we have to pay for, like all these things, like I pay for them. And so that financial commitment becomes like, man, a listing's the easiest way an agent can pay money. It's the most expensive way I can do it, and I make less money here. That it's backwards business. So it's if it was something I could redo, I would charge the agent 5% more on a listing side.
So solo agents who are out there, if you have a cash flow crunch, and something you could do is take a look at a team that pays for your things. They pay for the signage, the lock boxes, the photographers, and all the things like that.
Yeah, and the other side, Jim, is like we have a killer Rolodex in support with contractors. So it's like all that stuff is handled in house. So what we're trying to get agents to do is get to the point where they essentially write contracts, like go on appointments, write contracts, and attend closings. And again, it goes back to like those are the key things that you got in the industry to do. We don't want our agents tied up with paperwork nightmares. And so we have all these systems that we provide our agents to work within that make it easier for them to go out and just spend more time doing income generating activities.
So I love the fact you said systems. Let's talk about systems. I saw somebody, Rob Campbell, asked a question about lead systems, but what systems are non-negotiable if you want a team to scale successfully? Like what are they?
Yeah, so the transaction management system that EXP offers, we use SkySlope, and that is more like it's a requirement for the transaction team, and it's like a non-negotiable associated with that. We got to a point last year where like every single scale piece that we wanted was super dependent on a better database utilization process for our agents. And look, like I suck using a database, just like a lot of realtors do. I'm really good at going out, making connections, and doing deals. Great at it. Putting it in the database and updating the notes, and I suck at that stuff. And so when I when we got to a point last year, it was like, how do we do this better? How do we do this better? We all came back to the concept of we need to clean up our database and we need to make it a lot better and more trackable. So we use Follow Up Boss. The bigger your team is, it's a great database, for larger size or even smaller size teams. And you can track the most important stuff in there. So one of the things like we're trying to get better about is like if you look at the income generating activities that agents should be doing, it's contacts, it's appointments, contracts, pendings, and closings. Like those on its face are five super important data points that agents need to track, and all of that can be tracked with Follow Up Boss. We use Sisu, which is also provided by EXP. It's our dashboard. It's our transactional dashboard, and it shows everything that's going on with agents. It can has some really slick features in it where you can see like some tracking on like projection metrics and revenue and monthly revenue versus like last year. And so a lot of that stuff is really helpful from my seat um, to be able to just look and keep a pulse on the team. It's how I know that we have 69 houses under contract right now. And I know that at our highest point last year, we had 48. So like those types of things are important as a team lead to go, is all the stuff that we do working? Is all this stuff helpful? Are we doing the right stuff? So it's a way to keep a pulse on all those questions. And then a couple other systems that we do. Um, we're a Zillow preferred team, so we provide leads to our team. I've been a Zillow guy since 2016, and like them or love them, Zillow leads are people too. They're not aliens and they're not weirdos or anything. They're people with their hand up saying, "Hey, I'm trying to buy a home and I need help." Are they expensive? Does Zillow always play the game? Sure, whatever. I don't really care. We get a lot of leads from them, and our agents do a really great job. And it serves as a great resource to help somebody take a sphere that's this big and make it this big over time by working paid leads.
Have you used any other paid lead sources? So you use Zillow, or what are some other ones that are out there that people might want to look at?
Yeah, we used Fellow. So Fellow is more on a seller side. It's a look. It's all about how clean your data is with that goes in your CRM. So Fellow hooks to your CRM. It gives like uh, bi-weekly emails to your sellers about their home value. We didn't use it enough. And so when I went to my agents and said, "Hey, here's a system. It's really great." They said, "That's awesome." We didn't get a huge buy-in from it. So I spent 22,000 bucks over 2 years and just made a decision to pull it out. And when I told the team that we were removing it, nobody cared. We used a system called House Whisper. House Whisper is an AI agent that hooks to your calendar in your CRM for like note taking and call recording and things like that. It's awesome. It's really slick. I bought it because I thought it was great for me and I thought it would really help our agents. We are 7 months into a 12-month contract. I just called them and I said, let's cut it. And my agents are like on the team are like, yeah, it's not perfect. We don't love it. We like our own way better. No big deal. Thanks for trying it. So look, this is the reality about running a team is like you'll try a lot of stuff. I bought this is a funny story. I bought a system called Town Sites. Did you guys ever hear about this?
Mm-mm.
Town
No, go
Sites
ahead.
was based out of Michigan and they were AI that plugged into like like city codes and zip codes and things like that. So it'd be like I want to buy 46220 and they like would put out all this AI content and they would pump it all out on Instagram and all over the place. And I bought the system and the membership at EXPCon like 3 or 4 years ago in a hotel room after like 7 beers. And one of my team members, Daniel, was like, I'm so confident this won't miss. This is the best thing. Our agents are going to kill this. So I gave my credit card 10,000 bucks. 1 year later, 1 year, we weren't even off the ground in the zip codes. They didn't work. We had a bunch of problems. And look, Town Sites is a great product. The delivery, they were brand new at the time. The delivery and the rollout for us didn't work. And our agents just got to the point where it was like, hey, this is out of sight, out of mind. It doesn't work for us. Called Town Sites. They're like, we'll give you 5 grand back. I lost 5 grand. And so it's like, this is the cost of doing business with these systems right now, especially around AI. Like, every single day that you get a system put in front of you, there is another one being developed tomorrow that's better. So if you're going to spend money, just know like EXP offers Corded. I use Corded to recruit. It's 300 bucks. I just looked at it and was like, what do I use it for? It's like I use it to check on people to see how much business they're doing. Well, I can use our MLS for that. I don't need to know people's propensity scores if they want to join our team. I need to build a relationship with them over a long period of time, like I do with buyers and sellers. Is it helpful? Sure. Do I need to spend $300 a month on it? No, boom, gone. So like the point is like when you start doing this and you start getting clear about what kind of team you want to be, you can back in to what kind of costs are associated with running a team. And so for us over the last 6 months, I've looked at this and said, if I'm going to provide support and leads in an office and a bunch of staff members that are kick ass and care about people's business, well, then we can build our own tech. So we can learn the AI systems to then go, do we have this tech? Yes. Then we're going to build it because we can do it for free right now or with a handful of tokens that cost maybe $100 a month opposed to thousands of dollars a month. So that's like where we are in terms of what we're trying to do, just because we're more clear about what we're trying to accomplish.
Alex, what would you say is the best book or resource out there that you used for building a team? There's probably lots of them you've read, but what would you say if somebody was getting started, what would be their first go-to?
Man, that's a good question. I'm not going to, I don't think I have one. I think part of this is like having conversations with team leaders. So, like, I see Donnie on the call. Like, Donnie's a killer team leader. They run a monster business and a great team. Um, you know, Rob and Kim ran a brokerage. Like, running a team is just a different version of the same model within a brokerage done differently. So, like, talking to people and learning. So, like, when people call me about investing in real estate, because I'm an investor, I tell them the good, the bad, and the worst stories I could ever imagine. And then I just ask them, are you still interested in doing this? So it's just a matter of talking to people who do this every single day. And what I'll tell you, running a team today is way, way, way harder than it was 5 years ago when I started doing this, or 6 years ago when I started doing this. And the reason it is like if you look at the last 3 years in the real estate industry, there's less transactions than ever. Leads cost more than ever. There are more systems in education and opportunity than ever before. And people move brokerages way faster than ever. So like agent loyalty and retention is harder. So like if everything is harder, how do you make it work? And the reality is it's like clarity on in terms of what you're doing. So like when I tell you guys, hey, I pulled all this tech out of my all out of my business, my P&L, the math that I have is like $4,500 a month, trimmed out, gone. Do that math. It's like $53,000. Now, that $53,000 is my income. And so like when people look at this like a team and say, "Oh man, Lockstep did 100 million bucks, 3%, 3 million, 300 yeah, $3 million. Alex must make a fortune." The reality is it's not like that. And so like it is truthful that leaders eat last when you're running a team. However, the benefit to this that we haven't discussed, I haven't showed a house since March of 2025. I don't write contracts anymore. I don't negotiate deals. I'm home every night at 4:30. And I have people in place that do all of this for me. And I made a really nice living last year doing that. And now as we like tweak and scale and grow and we're more clear, we're working off baselines of income that you can say like if we bring in this type of agent, it takes them this long to get going and this long to generate income. And you really operate like a business strategist opposed to just going, hey, agents, come join my team. Everybody can come work here. One of the
So,
things to
Donnie,
get back,
go
I want to
ahead.
touch on something real quick. EXP offers something called Team Leader Academy. Susan McLean offers it. It is a must do if you're trying to run a team. It's 2,500 bucks. It's a no brainer to do. But you operate on EOS, and EOS is entrepreneurial operating systems, and it gives roles to people within your company, and it keeps people in their particular lanes of operation. And what we did when we started is like everybody did everything all the time. And what happens is two people do the same job or nobody does no job. And this whole entrepreneurial operating systems for us puts people in particular seats. It gives organizational hierarchy for decision making privileges. It gives meeting agendas. It gives meeting cadence. So everything is orchestrated for you. All you have to do is follow the plan and stick within the box. And then like you only work on a handful of things at a time, opposed to like small business, you feel like everything's coming at you nonstop, relentlessly. And it's like, I don't even know what the heck I'm supposed to do today. So, Jim, you're going to ask a question.
Donnie Morrow had a good statement in here. He said there's actually a good chance Alex could make more money just selling homes, right? You could make more money, but then what's that do to your lifestyle, Alex, from what you've
Yeah,
developed?
so it it is a that is a real thing. Um, but like I said, I when I got in the business, I had three goals. One was to build a recession-proof business. Two was to build a business that allowed me to be present when I got married. I wanted to be a present spouse. And then when I had kids, I wanted to be a dad that went to everything. And I'll never forget it. It was like I had been dating Maureen for a year, and I was like, man, she's going to be the one. I don't know how I'm going to execute on these two goals that I have when I got in the business. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. And she told me, Alex, I don't care how much money you make. She's like, I have my own money. She's like, when you're home, I just want you to be home. And if that means like, hey, we spend 30 minutes together when we eat dinner and then you go work, I'm cool with that. But working during dinner and on the phone, texting during dinner, like it doesn't work for me. And so for me to be able to be home now, I have twins that are almost 4, to be home with my kids all the time. Like I just went to Florida for 8 days. I think our team probably sold 25 houses while I was gone. I didn't work. The only work I did was by choice in some like passion projects I'm working on. But when my wife was like, hey, you ready to go to the pool? It was like, boom, laptop closed and I'm out of there. And so that for me is what I enjoy, and that's by choice. And it's also offered me opportunities to like go spend time doing other things that I enjoy as well. So, like, I enjoy spending time with our top producers and helping them scale and grow their business. I don't enjoy answering a contract question with a new agent. Like we have people that are really good at that, that are better than me, that go do that. And it's also afforded me, Donnie, to your point, this time that I pick up, like a lot of it gets spent personally, but I've also been able to go out and start other businesses um, that pay me multiple six figures a year. So I've been able to scale my income in other ways as well. So it all fits within the same infrastructure, and it's less. I looked at what a transaction would do to me, and every time I would get stuck inside of a deal, the heartburn and the lost sleep and the health, like it just wasn't worth it to me. And so we have people on our team that are really good at it, that are better than I would be today, and I don't spend that time anymore. And that's all by design and by choice.
I love that. We had a question from Rob Campbell. He said, how are you incorporating AI into your team or business?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It's pretty tough right now. I mean, there's so much stuff that's just it's a million miles an hour. So like we try to keep the conversation pretty consistent with our staff. So like, in the last couple of months, it's like, hey guys, ChatGPT kind of sucks these days. It's not as good as it used to. Let's flip over to Claude and let's start doing this and let's start doing this. But when I was telling you guys that like we hacked and tore through the P&L, what I've also learned is like the question to our staff is what task do you do every single day that can be replaced by an AI agent or an AI workflow? And while like you may hear that and think, I have no idea what the hell to even do with that, I didn't either, and I still don't. But what I did recently, I had a project I wanted done. And normally I delegate these projects out. Like we have a marketing girl or we have someone on our one of our VAs that can do it. But instead, I spent an hour in Claude. I built exactly what I wanted. I just right before I got on here, I'd Claude write an email for me, and that will go out when I hang up this call, and it's all done for me, but I control it. So like when I look at my team and I see like, hey, I have 5 VAs and we have 5 staff and we've got these systems. The question right now, like, what can be replaced by the tools that exist that you can build? And so it will help you increase your productivity, but it also will massively increase your profitability. And so, like, those are the things that we're like really driving in right now is like, look, when you do $100 million in production, if you can improve the bottom line by 1, 2, 3%, that's a lot of money. And it's a lot. It, it like we take a lot of risk as team leads. Like people join your team because they don't want the risk associated with running a team. And so like when you do that, it's like we look at everything, every single system that exists. I've asked our staff to go out there and go, tell me why I need to pay this system to do this. And so like some of you have seen, like I just started a podcast. I pay the system $1,000 to produce it. And I called my VA and I said, hey, look, you have 30 days. I want the system gone. He's like, so what do I need to do? And I said, you need to learn how to edit video. You need to learn how to do this. You need to learn how to do this. You need to learn how to do the whole thing. I will talk to you in 30 days. I'd like a presentation of everything. Holy smokes, Alex. I don't know. I said, I can't continue to employ you if you can't do this. AI will teach you everything. Go learn. He came back 2 weeks later. He's like, I'm halfway done. Here's a killer presentation. Here's a done product that I actually did of something that was already done. And look, my VA costs $650 a month. My product that he's replacing costs 1,000. Like that math is if you can help this person who you pay $650 a month replace thousands and thousands of thousands of dollars, that's all bottom line revenue or profit that goes into your pocket.
So we had a question from the crowd. Speaking of VAs, says, "Hey Alex, where did you hire your VA from? How much training did they require, and what is their hourly rate?" That's from Svetlana.
Yeah, yeah. So I did a lot of my stuff in the beginning from Sphere Rocket. Their contracts pretty ironclad to get out, so I would just make sure you read that before going down that path. We recently hired our most recent hire was from onlinejobs.ph. So I created a job description um, in um, in chat. So like I put together a really good job description. I posted it in onlinejobs.ph, and then I hooked everything into Manus, which is another AI platform. And I just said, vet all of this, go through every single job application that comes in, and then score them based on these critical things. And then I scheduled interviews after that. And that to me was a great process. The VA we hired actually called me on WhatsApp, and had no idea. I was like, here's a call. It says Christina from WhatsApp. I answer. She's like, hey, Alex, I'm calling about the job. And I was like, what in the world? Like, I had no idea. So, like, we pay Sphere Rocket $10,000 a month. I won't be paying that anymore. And so that will transition into a new opportunity that's another $10,000 into the bottom line. So, like, if you sit here, $10,000 a year. So if you hear all of this, it's like all this, like I haven't trimmed a soul, not a single person, and I'm saving 70 some $1,000 a year. And like that's the difference of running profitable and successful teams and teams that are just do this as a joyride now for fun.
I love it. So let's do a couple call to actions here as we're getting close to the end. If anybody wants to throw a question in, they can. But two call to actions. Number one, Alex, somebody's sitting here listening and they're wondering, you know what? I think sometime in the next 90 days, I should join a team. What is agents get distracted all the time? What is the very first thing they should do? They're thinking, I think I should join a team. What should that person do?
Yeah, so you should organize your business and look at your business to understand where all of your leads and opportunity are coming from. You should ask yourself the question of is like, why do I want to do this? And then what I would do is I would go find the best team leads in your market and I would just sit down with them and just talk to them. So, I think about agents that come to us, there's a reason why you would do it. And typically it's because working by yourself, being a lone wolf, it's lonely, it's hard. You don't have a push. If you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, to get into a room full of kick-ass agents will make you better. So it's like ask yourself those questions and get really serious about it, and then go sit down with folks. So like when agents come and talk to me, it's like always welcomed. And so go do that, and then make the evaluation based on like what you learn. Is this the right move for me?
Love it. And so that's the call to action for somebody who's considering joining a team. Same question, but somebody is like, you know what? I love what Alex has built. I want to build a team sometime in the next 90 days. I'm going to get started. What's the very first step they need to take?
Yeah, so I would I think probably the first thing you should do a 2 week time tracker. So take 2 weeks, track your time, 15-minute increments. So set an alarm on your phone for every 15 minutes. When the time's up, write it into an Excel spreadsheet and show everyone, show yourself like what you do within that time. And then look at where you need, like, what things do you spend the most time doing that are not paying you back or bringing you joy. So you grade that out and you score your time. Once you do that, go hire the replacement. And then a couple months down the road, do it again, do it again, do it again. So like keep replacing yourself within your role. Um, and that'll help you kind of determine like how you want to do it, the things you want to do. The other thing I would say is like schedule calls with high producing team leaders. Hey, what's it
Nice.
look like? Here's where my business is. Here's where I'm having troubles. What do you think I should do? What's the most strategic hire today?
Beautiful. All right, I'm going to do a couple rapid fires at you. I'll let you get a drink there. We're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to bring this baby home. People like the rapid fire stuff. So this is just going to be rapid fire off the top of your head. Basically, one sentence answers to these questions right here. Are you
Okay.
ready? All right, here we go. Number one, what's the biggest advantage a team gives an agent that they usually do not see until they experience it?
Time leverage.
Time leverage. What needs to be in place before someone should even think about building a team?
Organization of your CRM and your systems.
Love that. Yep. What's the biggest mistake people make when they start recruiting agents?
They think everybody with a pulse is a fit for your team. So lack of clarity around who fits in the room.
They'll take anyone, right? Number four, how do you find the right people instead of just adding bodies?
Have a clear message to the marketplace about who that person is, and have more conversations with agents in the industry to turn the stones over as you're
Yeah,
as you're running your business.
yeah. Have your avatar, right? What does good onboarding look like for a new team member?
Oh my gosh, this isn't a rapid fire one, but
This is a
it is
rapid fire. Like, what's it look like?
clear. So I have this written down, but it's like clear standard operating procedures, an organization chart, um, clear systems and expectations for the agents that join the team, directive around like who to talk to, when to talk to them, when they should be in the office for meetings and attendance, and where they can find all of this on their own to be self sufficient.
You've been good in the military, Alex. SOPs, baby, standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
Here we go. Just a couple more, and then we're going to wrap up. How do you create accountability but still keep a strong culture?
Um, you ask the agent what their goals are, why they're their goals, and then you hold them accountable to that. And you create a culture where the room's goals are higher and higher as you continue to grow.
What system helped you scale the fastest?
Honestly, it's people.
People.
You're not going to buy a piece of tech, it's good people. So, what I would tell you is if you have the option to pay more for an A player than you would a C player, find the money and pay the A player because the A player will 10x you way faster than a C player can 2x you.
Talent, right? There you go. What is one leadership lesson you learned the hard way? Ooh, it's a good one.
Um, it's not personal. Business is business.
It is.
Profitability matters.
People are going to leave. People are going to stay, right? There we go. For someone trying to grow in the next 90 days, where should they focus first? We said that one before, but it's a good rapid fire one.
Yeah, I would say you should focus on growing yourself and organizing yourself and your time in your CRM and your own systems to make the determination of how you're going to grow your team.
Love it. And the last one is 1 o'clock right on time. What is the one thing you hope everybody takes away today from listening to you?
Uh, you should feel clearer direction if you should join a team or if you're in a position to be able to build a team with the action steps to be able to do that.
Love it. Round of applause, everybody, for Alex. Great job, Alex. Well done. We love
Thank
how
you. Thank you.
transparent you were with everything like that. That's awesome. A lot of times people keep all that
Amazing.
stuff close. When they get successful, they don't want to share, but that's not how it is here on Grow Global. So next Monday, we're going to be meeting again Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and we'd love to have you on here. We'll be getting out to what our topic's going to be and who we're going to be talking to. But show some love here for Alex for opening his books up and telling us all his secrets. He's had a ton of success. And by the way, congratulations on the Indiana Hoosiers winning the
Yes.
football national championship. Well done. If it couldn't be my Buckeyes, I wanted it to be them. So I was glad they got it. Heck of a team.
Thanks, guys.
So well done. We'll see
See you
everybody
next
next
week.
Monday at noon. We'll
Awesome,
stop the
Alex. Thank
recording
you.
and I'll say bye to people as we get out of here, but we'll stop the
Yay.
recording.
Thank you,
Bye,
Alex.
Tim. We'll see you.
Jim,
Enjoy
great
the
job.
day.